I'll start the, it's, the webinar is now live.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for joining in 4 minutes late. We were into some technical difficulties. So we'll start our presentation in 2 minutes. We'll just let all the attendees to come in. Thank you. So far, Dr. Wasim, we have 30 participants. So we'll just give it another minute and we'll start our presentation.
Okay.
Doctor, you may start the presentation now.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank you for staying that late of the day. And it is a good opportunity for me to introduce the College of Health Sciences and not the existing programs, which are running beautifully well, but also to share with you our plans for the future of the college. And in essence, we have submitted now 2 applications for CA accreditation for programs that we hope to be launching later on in this year, in September 2021. The first program, it is an undergraduate program, and that's what we will be talking about today. It is entitled Basic Medical Sciences. Some people, they call it pre-med. In fact, it is a combination of pre-med as well as basic sciences for those who may seek other professions, not necessarily medicine. And today, Maha will be with me to assist me in this presentation, which I hope to be as interactive as possible. So before we uh, talk about the program, let me ask you about your long-term career plans. Who wants to become a medical doctor, or those who, like me, want to be a medical researcher, or a combination of medical doctor and academic researcher, or the MD, PhD, or those who seek other non-medical professions, such as in sales or in government agencies, and those who are still way too young and they don't know exactly what they want. So here I'm here to just to get an idea about your interests.
So here I wanted to inform everyone, please go to www.menti.com and use the code 3430192 to answer this question and all the questions that will come forward in the presentation. The code is also available in the chat if somebody wants to copy and paste. So we'll just give another 10 seconds. I want all of you to respond to the questions. We have 37 attendees and we just got 13 people to answer the question up till now. So everyone, we need to know your future plans. So just go on to www.menti.com, enter the code, and answer the questions.
Good. So I guess we can move forward. So it looks like two-thirds of the attendees, they want a profession in medicine, either to be a medical doctor or to become a combination medical doctor and academic researcher. Which brings in the next question. Who gets into medical school? And this is a question that I'm always asked. Is it students with an extremely high GPA, 3.9 and higher, or students who have super rich families? And pick your choices.
So our third option is students with unique personalities. Our fourth option is students who have connections like WASTA. Our fifth option is students studying specific majors. And our sixth option is students whose drive is to become rich. To those who have just joined us, please go to www.menti.com and use the code which is presented on top of the screen or in the chat box to answer the questions. So, Dr. 31 students or participants have answered up till now.
Wow. Very interesting. 16% of those who answered, they attributed this to WASTA. And it may be true in some cases, but in other cases, it is not the case. And 47%, they answered that they should have a very high GPA, 3.9 and higher. I can tell you from now, a very high GPA will help, but it will not grant you admission to medical school. And students with unique personalities also, it will help you in the interview process, but also it will not grant you admission to the medical school. And the lowest is the specific majors, which is true because as we shall see, anybody can get into medicine depending on some criteria that they will have to fulfill irrespective of their background. So what is the truth then about acceptance into medical schools? So they must have a desire to become the best healthcare providers. And I'm happy to see that none of you answered that it is they are doing it for the money, because this is not a good indicator for getting into medical school and seeking a medical profession. So the assessment then how to assess that this is what you want. Do you do this during the interview with the committee that will look at the applicants to medical schools? And also, most of the universities, they ask the students to write a personal statement. And this is when you can put in 200 words your desire, why you want to get into medical school. And this will become a basis for getting to know you as a person. So the students must be the best candidate among all applicants. In some universities, they may have hundreds, even thousands of applicants, but the class of medicine is limited to only 150 students or even less. So you really must sell yourself for why are you so good, why this university should take you. And this is one you should present with strength in many areas. You should be very much versatile, not necessarily only in health related fields. And this is why it is important to go with the right program. So the pre-med program, as we shall see today, does not focus only on health-related issues, but gives an all-rounded kind of preparation in social sciences, in arts, in history, in sociology, in addition to health subjects. And the students must have a holistic approach, which means look at the big picture and do not look only at the undergraduate degrees as being the only passport to getting into medical school. So the pre-med program will give you this holistic kind of preparation, and it will also prepare you into the admission to the medical school by preparing you for the Mcat, for the medical college admissions test. So the holistic approach then is based on few criteria. First, the passion. What is your passion? How can you demonstrate it in and out of the classroom? Are you interested in seeking a health related issue? Are you interested in alleviating some of the diseases or some of the conditions affecting humanity? Caring. It is not only about healthcare. Other non-health experiences are needed too. Do you do any volunteering? Do you go with communities? Do you help out other students? Well, identity is we don't want photocopies of each other. We don't want Xerox copies of medical doctors. We want individual and unique doctors, somebody that I can sit with and I know I'm talking to that person, not to a clone of them. And scholarship, it is the holistic approach. This is when we expect people to step out of their comfort zone. Do not only look at, we do only endocrinology and we do not see anything away from this. So the patient should be able to challenge him or herself by stepping out of this comfort zone and to enhance their leadership attributes. And this can be achieved by being engaged in research, in service learning, and in refresher courses. And the goals, you should ask yourself, you should have the courage to ask yourself, is the medicine in for me for the long-term career plans? And you will be surprised how many people they will answer this as no. They will discover it later on in life that their actual passion was to do something else. So make sure that you are in for it for the right reasons. And the academics, how much knowledge do you know in the requirements for studying medicine? Yeah, you go into the interview and they tell you why you want to do it. So you want to be able to answer that question. I know that I have to do this. I know I have to prepare for the MCAT. I know I have to prepare for the interview. And do not appear that you are somebody who is there just to get more information. So the evaluation criteria then adopted by most medical schools, they focus on the attributes, which is something related to the person, him or herself, by asking about their values. How do they feel about global warming? How would they feel about gender equality? and their beliefs and the language spoken. And in the Emirates and in the GCC in general, English is a must. Arabic is also a must, but English is even more important because this is the language that everybody will understand, especially with the multicultural nature of the country. Perspectives. What are your long-term perspectives? Where do I see you in 10 years from now? And intellectual curiosity. If I give you a problem or if I give you an issue, are you willing to actually come up with an intelligent or really out of the box kind of a solution for it? And this ties up with the next thing, criteria, which are the experiences. How far the student has come. You started, and that's why we do not look at where you are now, but we ask the question, where were you 4 years earlier and where are you now? And we look always for improvement in both the preparation, in the curiosity, and in the maturity. And the education background, it is not only about studying health related fields, but rather in the diversity and in the preparedness for it. The community service in North America, it's a must for the volunteer service. And the volunteer service can be anything from working with nursing homes to working with Red Cross to working with other NGOs. And within this, the kind of leaderships that they have assumed in these roles. And the leadership can be inside the university and also outside the university. So medical schools then are interested in having well-rounded applicants, and the admission is based on many criteria. The most important one, although it is not the only one, is the GPA, the grade point average. While we look for somebody who is really consistently the top of the class, a trend in the upward direction is also noted. Somebody who starts as a C major in year one jumps into a B plus major in year two, and then an A major, an average A of year three and year four, I will look at them more favorably than somebody who has been a B plus throughout. And do not assume that only science courses are needed because both of them, science and non-science courses, are equally important. دائما نجي نسال تلاميذ انه what do you focus on? Oh, we don't have to focus Arabic or Islamics or sociology. Let's focus only on biochemistry and on calculus. No, you should treat both of them with the same respect. And the Mcat, and we're going to get to the Mcat in the next slide. And the majors and the minors, again, they assume that anybody who goes into medicine must be a major in biology or in chemistry. The truth is, you can be anything you want, provided that you fulfill some courses and you sit for the MCAT and give one hell of an interview. And the goal and the pursuits is also, it is a key thing in determining the acceptance. And the very first question any interviewing panel will ask you, why study medicine? And the next question that all of them will ask you with no exception is, how do you know that medicine is the right thing for you? So if we were to look at these different undergraduate majors, which one do you think is the best major for students who want to apply to medical schools? What are the courses? Okay.
For those of you who have just joined us, please go to menti.com and use the code 3430192 to answer these questions.
As expected, most of you, they went with the biological sciences. And the truth is, even students with a math and computer science major can apply to medical school. Even students with physics degrees or with other majors, they can still apply to medical schools, provided that they fulfill certain courses and certain criteria. So your major is not a key determinant for admission into the medical school as long as you meet the minimum requirements in terms of courses taken in the undergraduate years. So what is the best major for medical students? Anything you love to study. One of my students, actually, she was a math major and she went into medical school and she went marvelously well. Another student of mine, I taught her some of the courses. She was an actual art student, but she actually went on to take the needed requirements. She sat for the Mcat, and now she's a full-fledged academic researcher who is putting her background in arts as a way of treating her subjects. And the MCAT is key for admission into medical schools using the North American system, which is typically taken at least 1 year before entry into medical school. And usually it is done in November of the last year of undergraduate studies of the senior year. There are lots of courses and programs that are available on the market, and some of them may be helpful to some, but they are not required for the test as such. So when you sit for the MCAT, you don't have to prove evidence that you have taken that course earlier. And the courses required for the MCAT test are general chemistry, organic chemistry, biology, physics, and also English composition. And that's why it is important to keep on reviewing and revisiting those disciplines throughout the first 3 years of your training. And beginning in 2015, an additional set of courses were added in biochemistry, psychology, sociology, as well as statistics. Now, please do not be alarmed. Let's wait until we are done and you will see why this course, the program that we are proposing, is both timely and of significance. So the question is, which one is more important? Is it my GPA? Is it my MCAT score? Or is it both? And the truth is, if you were to take a GPA between 3 and 3.19, a B average, the chances of being acceptance is around 15.9%. If your GPA is higher, it is 3.79%, but still, we are talking about almost two-thirds. So what happens to the other third? Why didn't they get into medical school despite the fact that they have such a high GPA? When we look at the MCAT, those who score between 498 and 501, they have a 20% chance of being acceptance. Those above 517, they have a much higher percentage, almost 84%. But still, 16%, they will not make it despite their MCAT score. So what is the answer for this? Is it the GPA? Is it the MCAT? Or is it both? And the answer, of course, is both زائد the interview itself. Which takes us now into why we are here today. I want to share with you our newest program, which is currently under review by ADEC and CAA. We called it the BSc in Basic Medical Sciences. Nickname is Pre-Medicine Program, but as we shall see, it is more than pre-med. So it is a full-time undergraduate program which gives BSc after 4 years years, 8 semesters, and 2 summer terms. So we expect that students to, especially in the last 2 years, to have no holidays except in Al Eid and in New Year. And it is designed to address the interdisciplinary and integrated science courses needed for pre-medical education, according to the American Association of Medical Colleges and the Howard Hughes Medical Institute Joint Committee recommendations. So what do we focus on? In developing competencies, not only for taking courses. لأنه لو كان taking courses, you could have done it at home on your own and you would not need us. So we want to work with you to develop the needed competencies for this. And it is designed not only for a career in medicine, but also for those who are interested in doing research in medical sciences. This can be the stepping stone in getting them admitted into the postgraduate training leading to master's and PhD, as well as for other professional paths. So what are the goals? We have identified a few goals for the basic medical sciences program. Is first, the obvious thing is to understand the sciences and how the physical sciences and math are related to the life sciences and the biomedical sciences. We described the behavioral as well as the social sciences in addition to the health related and life related sciences. And it will also complete the needed courses for the admission to the medical school. So we give you exactly what are the courses needed. And during the course, we have two instances where the students actually will be engaged in research. The first one is between year 2 and 3, and the other instance in the last year where they take a capstone project. We help the students to speak and to write. So we focus on developing these competencies in oral as well as in written communication. And we work on the individual and as to becoming a well-rounded member of the community by putting the students to work in a team kind of environment. And my colleagues, Dr. Luciana and Dr. Joanne are very keen on introducing the problem-based and team-based learning approach in studying the basic medical sciences. And an important goal is to prepare the students for the transitioning to the medical school or college or into the professional postgraduate program. And some may not want to pursue either one of them, so we will help them to work either as research assistants in industry, government agencies, and also in non-government organizations after their BSc. So whatever your desires and your long-term plans are, there is something for you in it. And I'm very happy to introduce the team. This was developed, the program, it is not, I did not write it myself, but rather it was the joint effort of the faculty. To my left is Dr. Luciana Campos. She's a physiologist, and she helped in drafting some of the courses of the program. And the center is Dr. Joanne Sadier. She provided the blueprint of the program and contributed to some of the courses. And same with Dr. Tanya Tahtouh, who also contributed to the drafting of the program. And she was the one who was behind developing the labs, the facilities, and the manuals. And Ms. Dima Al-Halabi, she is in the nutrition and dietetics program. And our newest appointees, Dr. Swibol Choksai Sawasdi, She is a food sciences and she is a key participant in it. Next to her is Dr. Michelle Sherfan, our newest faculty member. She was the one who took the task of editing all of the inputs into the final program that is now under consideration. And part of the courses that we will be discussing, it relates to law and to ethics and to medical law. And Dr. Dina Imad from College of Law, she is part of the program. And Dr. Yan Chan, she is we are now trying to finalize her papers. She will be with us. And the last member is Ms. Ala Al Bawab. She is the teaching and research assistant in the college. So the curriculum begins with we have a set of courses. We have the so-called GE or general education, and these are courses that are taken irrespective of if you want to study law, if you want to study engineering or business, and this is set by the Ministry of Education. And then we have the degree requirement, something related to basic medical sciences, although they are not the basic medical sciences courses as such. And then the major requirements, and this is when you will be taking courses related to the different basic medical sciences. And we have three courses related to research, to seminars, and to professional practice. So in year one, we will be taking the GE or general education courses, such as Arabic, English, Islamic culture, math for life, which is comparable to what was given in high school, and a course sociology about the UAE and the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC Society, some general statistics that you will build on for advanced courses, and academic skill for success, and then a technical course about communication. In the degree requirements, we will take courses that are needed, but they are not the actual major courses as such as a integrative health and medicine. When we talk about alternative medicine, herbal medicine, non-traditional medicine, some general chemistry and general biology, comparable to what was taken in the high school, but with an added material. And one of our most popular course, Introduction to Happiness and Positive Psychology, and Introduction to Health Management, some epidemiology and population health, which is based on the earlier course in the stats, Introduction to Public Health, and a course about biotechniques. This is when we go to the labs and we actually do hands-on learning about how to extract DNA, how to analyze proteins, how to measure light emission, and research methods, medical bioethics, precision medicine and medical law, as well as evidence-based medicine. The major requirements are clumped into anatomy and physiology, and biochemistry and molecular biology, hematology and immunology, and microbiology. Within the microbiology, we focus on virology, bacteriology, parasitology, and immunology when we take both the cellular, molecular, and the clinical immunology, and of course, with the course about pathology and cancer. So these are the courses needed to be fulfilled for entry into the medical school. And for students who actually make it to medicine, they will find that these courses, they are more or less very much helpful in when they actually take them later on as part of their first year of undergraduate medicine. Then we have the graduate research and we have the journal club, which is also given on the third year. And the Mcat, we actually give an intensive summer course extending over 8 weeks, 4 credits. And this is when we actually prepare the students for all the topics needed that will be examined on when they eventually sit for the Mcat in November of that year. Uh, there are lots of courses that are available regionally and internationally, but we feel confident that we are not doing it for profit. We are doing it because we want those who want to go to medicine, we want to secure that they will be, in fact, admitted into medicine. And the assessment, it is diverse. We try to be as fair as possible. So there will be a combination of problem-based learning, team-based learning, quizzes and exams which you are familiar with, written assignments, presentations on topics assigned by the instructor, case studies for some of the courses, and the student research. And the degree is completed once you finish 132 credit hours with a minimum grade of 70 in each of the 3 years following the freshman year. And this is cumulative. In the major requirements, we need an 80%. And for some cases, the students, for a reason or another, they may skip a year. For example, a student, she may be pregnant and may want to take a year off, but we would prefer to keep it within 5 years from the enrollment. So let's ask the tough questions. What will you do if you are rejected, la samahallah, from entering to medical school? So the choices are: we give up on further education, just go and look for any job. Or use the wasta, ask them to force an acceptance. Or reapply after 1 year while working on your application, try to become even stronger, and then give up medicine altogether and go into a professional degree in basic medical sciences. And you will not know, you will cross that bridge once you get to it.
So, as you know, guys, you know the drill. You need to go to menti.com, click into the code, and answer the question.
This is great. It only shows that you are determined. It shows that you have a plan, and you show that none of you will give up on further education. And that's what I want you to come out of this. This is not the end of the world if you do not make it into medical school. Remember, this is very competitive. And what we should do is we should just learn how to absorb it in good spirit, and do not put the blame on anyone. Just take it as a mild disappointment and have a working plan. Uh, 40% or more of you will be reapplying again, which is a smart move. And almost 36% of you may want to pursue an academic career in basic medical sciences, which is also great. And alhamdulillah, none of you will feel the need for seeking somebody to force an acceptance on them. So that's what the basic medical sciences will give you that option. For those who want to go into medical school, they will still be able to do it. They're taking a refresher course on the Mcat. And for those who want to go into graduate studies, it will also prepare them to at least identify what is their passion. I know my passion was in immunology, but I did eventually join pharmacology initially, but later on I went into immunology and that became my career line. Had I known this earlier, I would have gone to immunology from day one. So, in case of rejection, it's not of the underworld, it's a mild disappointment. Take some time to recover and to heal. And then ask yourself, what can I do to make my application better? Think about your reapplication strategy. And do not think that I should increase my MCAT score and ignore the other parts of the interview process. And do not regurgitate the whole CV next time you sit with the committee. If they ask you, tell me about yourself, do not read your CV. Tell them about something which is not found on your CV, which will make you a very interesting person that is worthy of being admitted to medical school. And know your application timeline and start dates. Some schools, they will put the application deadline as September 1. Others, they'll put it as November 1, others as February 1. So make sure that you know which school you are dealing with and what is their application deadlines. And also evaluate what are your career options. Do not do it because you want to be the first doctor in the family. And do not do it to please your parents or to say to your friends, look, I'm better than you. And there are other areas in healthcare which are equally as gratifying, such as graduate studies, allied healthcare professions, and also in public health. So the question that you are going to ask me, what can we apply to your program? Please wait until an official announcement will be made. And trust me, we are going to announce it using the media and the social media at that time. But we want to ensure that we have full approval of CA and ADEC, which we are cautiously optimistic will be obtained before June. And thank you very much for being here and for your participation. Now we have some time for questions.
So please feel free to write your questions on chat, and if you want to ask a question live with us, so just raise your hand and I will allow you to speak. For now, Dr. Wasim, we have two questions.
Yes.
One from Mr. Fazil Iqbal, who is asking us how long does it take for a medical student to complete his medical studies, including the residency program?
Now, there is also some variations. In the past, we're talking about a program that will require the bachelor's degree and the MCAT and the interview. So there was the traditional 4+4, which means 4 years of postgraduate, I mean, after the bachelor's leading to MD, and 4 years of residency. And now there's the discussion about the 4+3. So it all depends on the university, it all depends on the requirements, and more importantly, it all depends on the matching. The matching, which means after you get your MD and you want to go for your residency and for your further training, it is not a sure thing. What you have to do is compete for the spots and in the institution. And sometimes in the institutions, they may go with the 4+4 or 4+3. In Harvard, it used to be the 4+4. The 4, it used to be also a combination of a bedside and bench side, which means the students will actually do clinical rotations as well as research on the bench using translational approach. Next.
So, Doctor, we have another question from Mr. Tanzil, who's asking us, working in a medical rehab as a volunteer, is it beneficial?
Can you repeat the question, Maha?
He's asking us, working in a medical rehab as a volunteer, is it beneficial?
Yes. The volunteering, it actually gives you more scores than what you think. In Canada, where I came from, the medical students actually they will volunteer in nursing homes with the elderly. They will volunteer also in drug rehab centers. They will volunteer in there is the palliative care, which means patients who will die. Basically, they will be responsible for ensuring that everything is done on time and that what they need is going to be attended to. And this is actually part of their application, which will give them points ahead of everyone.
Mhm.
So volunteering, there is no little things in volunteering. Volunteering is volunteering.
So, another question is, Doctor, where can I do the MCAT exam?
That's the thing. The MCAT exam, it used to be done centrally in some areas in North America and Europe, but now they are branching out. And in the Middle East, I think uh, uh, please do not quote me on this. I think there is a center in Cairo and a center in Dubai, but I'll have to check on this.
Okay, Doctor. So, there's another question or a statement that says, this program is only local students or for all students?
For everyone. Because, as I said, the growing trend is in the past, they used to take students straight from high school into medical school. They will give them the first foundation year, and then they will throw them into the program. And the North American system, which is now being adopted, I know our neighbors, Khalifa University, they are using it. They will actually insist on having a bachelor's degree, the MCAT, the interview, and later on they will be deciding if the student is worthy of the spot in the medical school or not.
Yes, doctor. So there is a generic question which says, is medicine a cure to everything?
No, medicine is a tool, and it does not address every single issues. Some of the and that's something that we are insisting in our approach. We are looking at this holistic approach, and when we say holistic, it that does not mean only drugs and surgeries. The holistic approach is to look at the individual as an individual, and then to really work out with the individual and see what is the best cause for their, because at the end of the day what we want is we want the well-being for humanity, and sometimes the answer could be in counseling. Sometimes it can be in alleviating the current conditions. Sometimes it can be in a simple, hi, how are you, I care about you. So this is the holistic approach that will go hand in hand, but does not replace, neither does medicine replace it.
Oh, okay, doctor. So there is another question that states, the students graduated from the pre-med course can ultimately work in pharmaceutical companies?
Oh, yes. In fact, the preparedness that we give to our students, we give them the needed competencies to assume any role that they want after they graduate. We will give them of course, we are not going to train them to become, for example, specialist in a technique or in a system, but we will give them the needed competencies to assume any role that they want. They can go into pharmaceutical industries, they can go into government agencies, they can go into WHO, they can go into sales, they can be teachers, anything they want to.
That's great. So, another question, Doctor. What about the internship programs in hospitals and other institutions? Are they available for students?
For the pre-med, no, because it is not a medicine program per se. But what we want, what we do encourage the students in the research project is we design our research projects to be centering around patients or health related issues. And the access to the hospitals, we have lots of collaborating institutions such as Mediclinic, Cleveland Clinic, Virgil, and Cure Diagnostics and the Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center. So we try to, and the Sheikh Khalifa Medical City. So we try to give access to our students to actually go and get first-hand experience and even encourage them to become engaged in those activities in these according to what they want.
Mhm. Another question, Doctor. How beneficial is volunteering in life medical science?
Uh, you cannot have this without having this human touch. And the volunteering, I mean, I'm not going to discuss it from a religious point of view because all the religions, they actually encourage it. In fact, they order their followers to extend a hand. And the volunteering, it will also give you first-hand experience about whom are you dealing with, what is the condition. You will hear it from patients who are affected about their real life experiences. And also, it will also keep you with this humanitarian touch in addressing medical issues. And volunteering, I don't know about you guys, but I'm still volunteering in different ways and different capacities. And it can be a part of your personality.
And that's a good trait to have. So, another question, Doctor. Is it similar to biomedical science major?
Well, it is a biomedical science, but the biomedical science, initially we wanted to call it biomedical sciences dash basic medical sciences, because all of them, they are biomedical sciences, but the existing biomedical science focuses on the lab medicine. And so the emphasis there is the practical side of medicine in terms of doing biochemistry, bacteriology, serology, special chemistries, blood banking, and so on, which is a supportive system. So think of it that that program gives you the practical lab-based experience, while the basic medical sciences, it gives you the needed theoretical knowledge behind diseases and behind life processes.
Okay, Doctor. So, just few more questions. How long does this pre-med course take?
4 years.
4 years. Moving on, will it be possible if we are already majoring in biomedical sciences to shift to pre-med degree? Is it possible to transfer the credit hours?
It is possible yet, but again, one of our criteria for graduation is that there should be a minimum of 80% in the major courses. So the criteria for admission into that program, it will have to be done on student by student basis, provided that they meet the minimal requirements. Yes.
Okay, doctor. Can social work in medical science be nice whether it's not or our field?
Everything that you do on the side is needed.
Okay,
And when we talk about social sciences, I mean, you cannot separate social sciences from medicine. There is so much overlap between them. And
okay,
that's
doctor.
what we want to get across is please move out of the box and really look at the big picture, how to, at the end of the day, we are dealing with human beings and we should be looking at them as human beings, not as flesh and blood.
True. So, doctor, there is a situation-based question. If I study this course, I will get a place on a medicine program, and if so, entry into year one of medicine or direct entry into year two or three.
No, the way it happens with these programs is you finish the bachelor's degree and then you go into medicine. And in the medicine, the first year, they call them the basic sciences. They are far more engaged than what we give the students. So think of it that what we give is the basis on which the students will have to build on. The second year, it will be the pathology and the clinical. And the third and the fourth year, this is when they actually begin their rotations or the clinical phase of the program. So 2 years will be in classrooms and 2 years they will be on the floor.
Okay, doctor. So, doctor, one of the question is: are the medical studies expensive in UAE?
Well, everything is becoming expensive, but also one of the blessings of being in the UAE is that there are opportunities for scholarships and for assistance. And it all depends on the students and it all depends on the grade. They are competitive, but yet there are possibilities for at least some kind of scholarships or financial assistance.
That's true. Doctor, there is a question that states students who finished undergraduate degree in science major, do we have to take the pre-med program?
No,
No.
students who have graduated from any discipline, not only science degrees, they can go to medicine, provided that they take minimal number of the required courses and they sit for the MCAT and of course for the interview.
Okay, doctor. Somebody is asking, is this your passion? And how long did it take you?
Well, uh, my passion for this actually, everyone they will have their story to relate to, and my as when I opened my eye, I remember I was 6 years old, and I saw a beggar on the street, and she had a very big hernia, which was literally sticking out of her tummy. And most people actually they will move away from this really heinous sight because it's not a pleasant sight. But myself, I was curious to look at the color of this hernia because it was not the color of the flesh itself. Remember, I was 6 years old, and that intrigued me. And this is how you know that medicine is for you. And later on, when I was studying, I wanted to actually go into medical school, but there were so many questions in my mind, which I know that the medical school could not address me. They are health related. And that's why I decided to go the other route. And that's what I was telling you. Really know what your passion is, what your goal is. In parallel, I had my classmates, they actually went into medicine because they are really good in really capturing lots of things simultaneously at the same time. I took the other approach because I'm vertical in my thinking, which means if I have a case, I really want to take it all the way to find a solution for it. So it all depends on what is your passion.
Thank you, Doctor. This brings us to the end of our session. It was really nice to have you all over here. Thank you, Dr. Wasim, for
Thank you
presenting.
very much, Maha, and thank you all for attending, and best of luck.
Take care.